Hi everyone, so I'm going to now show you some print making that you can do with found objects, things you find around your house. If you saw the Google Doc I made, I put toilet paper rolls there, I put pictures of Legos, plastic spoons and knives. There's so many things that you can use. One of the things I also said is the type of paint you could use. You could definitely use watercolor paint like I have here. You can definitely use tempera paint or acrylic, or you can even use food color dye. So I'm going to show you different ways that you can do all those things. So let's start with one of the items that I showed you, and I showed you a toilet paper roll, right? So real easy, all you would do is dip the toilet paper roll in the paint, right? Might want to dab it off, make sure you have it, and then I would take my paper and I would just make a print, and I would just go right across the paper. I can overlap these, I could switch colors, I can do it any way I want. You probably want to avoid like the big globby paint, so sometimes you might want to take that toilet paper roll, just dip it on the side of your plate once so that you can get the effect there. I can take another color, let's say maybe I want magenta this time, dip the toilet paper, I don't even have to really switch colors, and I can maybe go in the opposite direction. And you could see how I could create a cool pattern. So that's one way, found object toilet paper. I took that toilet paper roll and I cut slits in it, and then I just fringed it back. And that's another way that I can do some printing. So if I add a little water to my tempera paint, right, like so, and I mix it around, it makes it a little bit less thick. And that's great if you're going to do some printing like I am with something that's a little bigger, like the sides of my toilet paper roll. So now I do that, put it on here, and then I can do these cool little like sunbursts. I could even twist them and see what I get, right? It's just the idea of printing something. So that's using the toilet paper roll. Now let's say I want to use something else that I find around my house. Need to wash my hands a little bit there. Like bubble wrap. Everyone's got some packing bubble wrap, right? Instead of throwing it out, hold on to it, put it in your tempera paint, and you can do printing with bubble wrap. How cool is that? So bubble wrap, that's a great texture. Like if you're gonna do an animal, that would be pretty cool paper to use for that. So there's our bubble wrap. What else can we do? How about paper itself? I crinkle up some printer paper, right? Dip it into my paint, like so, and print with that. Oh, that's pretty cool. Get some abstract shapes there. And again, just going in a row. So it almost appears kind of like wallpaper or wrapping paper. And I get different values there depending on how much paint is on it. So that kind of looks funky. It looks like something belongs out of a video game. So just paper itself would be fun to do. What's another item I can use? I showed you guys like a plastic fork. So I can do that a number of ways. I can use the fork prongs itself, and I can make some prints, right? Again, in a pattern or in a row. Maybe I want to crisscross them like we talked about before in the first print. That's pretty neat. Almost looks like a tic-tac-toe board or some kind of quilt. Or maybe I could use the back of the fork. That could be great texture too. Dip the back of the fork in, and let's see what happens. Ah, there we go. And that could be my print too. So lots of different things just laying around your house to use. Now what happens if you don't have tempera paint or acrylic paint? What else could you use? Well, I could definitely use watercolor. If I'm going to use my watercolor paints, I just want to make sure that I put a lot of water in that pan. This is called a pan, that little oval, to get that really wet. Then maybe I can use something small like my finger. That could be a print, right? Could even use my thumb, something bigger. So that's fun if you just have watercolors. Some kids might have food dye, and food dye kind of acts just like the same thing as your watercolors. So I'd squirt a little food dye on there. Then I'd put a little water to that. You can see I have the color there. Just remember with food dye, it's sort of permanent. It's not gonna wash off your hands so easily, so just be careful with that. So I could even use, let's say, the back of my food dye container, and that could give me a print, right? Or maybe I want to use, I don't know, something else. Like maybe I have a medicine top container, and I could dip that in and print that. So anything that you find around the house that mom or dad will let you use, obviously, you want to get their permission first, could turn into some great prints like you had seen before. Okay, good luck.